Hi, Mark Anthony here. Today I want to talk to you about the technique called the instead of technique. It sounds very fancy, the instead of technique. Well, it's not fancy, it's actually quite simple as most of my tools are, because I believe that any tool should be quite simple because that will actually help us use it. The more complex a tool is, the less we will use it. So the instead of technique is actually just a matter of focusing on what you want instead of what you do not want. Now, have you noticed how often you use the word not? I do not want to do this. Don't you want to do this? Don't you love me? Don't you like the food? It's all what we do not want. We actually ask about the opposite. Don't you love me? Well, hopefully that's not what we want to know. We want to know, do you love me? But we kind of wrap it in a way that we make it more difficult to the person we ask to be truthful. Or we don't want to be too direct, so we put a little not or no in the question. Don't you love me? Well, if I were to ask my wife that, I would ask, do you love me? Because that's what I wanted her to say, or answer at least to. So think about that. Another thing is, have you noticed how we use the word no? We say no, don't do that, or no, you can, or say no, what a great thing. So we use the no both in a limiting way, but actually also sometimes when we praise people, when we're positively surprised, we say no. I find that quite interesting. Let's think about that for a minute. Now go back to the instead of technique. I've spoken about motivation and how it's important to work towards something you want to achieve. Now, there are two directions basically in motivation: what you want to achieve and what you want to avoid, or rather what you want to work towards and what you want to work away from. Now, it's fine to say, I don't want this. I want to move away from that. That's fine. Everybody will find themselves in that situation. Now, you find yourself in that situation, like turn around and say, I don't want that. I want to move away from that. Or turn around and say, this is what I want instead. Instead of what I don't want, I want this. Now, the last half, that's what a lot of people tend to forget. They use a lot of energy on focusing on what they do not want, and very little energy instead of saying, okay, fair enough, now I really want to work with this instead. This is what I want to achieve instead of that. This is what I want to work towards rather than work away from. So think about that. Whenever you hear yourself or somebody else say, I don't want that, ask them, what do you want instead? Or they say, I don't want to feel like this, how do you want to feel instead? Always work with the instead of technique, because that will bring you closer to what you can achieve, because you can only focus your energy on what's ahead of you. It's very difficult to focus, movement backwards, but we use a lot of mental focus that way. Put your mental focus ahead of you, move towards what you want to achieve, what will give you a positive gain and outcome of your actions. So good luck applying the instead of technique. Thank you.